Good evening. This is Maestro with a Dawn of War 2 Retribution Elite modcast. Today we have a Best-of-5 faction war series between the Space Marines and Chaos. Kind of backwards, kind of the other way, but anyway, we're going to start off on Estia Province. Our first player will be Ununium, playing as the Chaos Lord. Big, tanky, destructive melee hero who walks through cover and cannot be suppressed. Next up, it's going to be a fan favorite. It's LocalGhost, playing as Sindri, Trollface, Chaos Sorcerer, spellcasting and battlefield manipulation hero. Finally, for Chaos, it will be Katla, playing as the Plague Champion. Plague Champion is a ranged hero to start out, can get melee weapons later on, can also heal and repair. Their opponents on the side of the Space Marines. We will begin with NoRealFilter, playing as the Force Commander. Yet another tanky melee hero, but this one can be knocked down and suppressed. He can also buff and do his own knockback with Battlecry. Cursecrab will be playing as yet another Space Marine Force Commander, looking pretty familiar here from a recent series. And finally, Chaos 23 will be playing as the Apothecary, healing commander with a targeted heal and a passive health regeneration aura. No engagements happening right here, so let's take a look and see how Ununium is doing. He's pretty low here on that Chaos Lord. He's looking for a kill of the week. He'll proc it on one Tactical Marine as well as the Force Commander, gives him a little bit of extra health, and the Heretics also getting into melee with the Tactical Marines. Heretics getting pretty low on health, but at the same time, the Tactical Marines don't want to risk losing a model, so this is looking pretty good for Ununium here, but he is going to get the Chaos Lord off the field. Doesn't want to risk him going down. Force Commander, however, trying to go forward, now trying to go back. Now he's actually risking going down. 50 hit points. I think he'll be okay, but it's kind of a close call, and trying to see if those Heretics can get even just a few more swings in there, but I think they're done. Meanwhile, oh no, this is going to be Katla, kind of getting caught here. I think kind of also getting doubled. She'll get her Chaos Space Marines off the field, one in retreat, the other one still out on the field. It's the Plague Champion who we have to be worried about now, though. At this point, I think Katla needs to call a double. Okay, does look like a LocalGhost trying to come in to provide some support, but he's only shooting in one Doombolt volley, so this generator farm is now in some serious trouble. We've got Shotgun Scouts trying to engage the Chaos Space Marine. Shotgun Scouts, I don't think they have a Shotgun Blast ready. I think they've already used it because their energy is pretty low. One model does go down on the Shotgun Scouts. You know, surprisingly, we're not actually seeing that much of a generator bash happening. That was a pretty big push there in terms of how far forward it was by Chaos and Cursecrab, but they didn't get a whole lot out of it. However, they're not done, I suppose. Chaos Space Marines kind of caught out of cover. One of those squads of Chaos Space Marines, already about half of their health, has to run out of there, get out of cover, because both the Apothecary and the Force Commander are here. Where is Local to provide some support? Local doesn't have too many units. He's finding his own units actually getting engaged on by Cursecrab as well. So Cursecrab and Local just fighting on multiple fronts. Heretics in a lot of trouble right here, and the Space Marines still kind of own this area, or at least they're still present in this area, but I think pretty soon they will find themselves getting forced off. It's only the Apothecary and one of those Tactical Marines, and they finally retreat. Now, while all this is happening, apparently at some point, the natural victory point for the Space Marines was actually taken by our Chaos players, so those scouts will be reclaiming it. We are going to see a Force Commander getting a few upgrades. He's going to get the Power Sword. Pretty good in this matchup, because not only are you getting the increased Battlecry buffing, but that extra damage on the Power Sword can be quite good against Chaos Space Marines. It's both a base DPS increase from 39 to 50, and then you also get the increased damage from power melee. So it's 50 base DPS, but 65 against power armor units, except for the fact that, well, some of them have melee resistance, but not all of them. Actually, I don't recall. No, never mind. Let's just move on. Alright, not a whole lot happening at the moment, but it does look like Katla is moving, possibly looking for... Oh yeah, this is definitely Katla looking for a generator bash, but I think Katla will need to engage first. A lot of damage going in on the Apothecary, probably looking to draw out the heal onto the Apothecary first, but LocalGhost will get engaged on from the other side by Cursecrab. In many ways, it does feel like Cursecrab and Chaos are really getting the better of Local and Katla. Katla's going to Attempt the generator bash. Almost takes down one generator. Assault Marine's actually retreating immediately after that. Where is the Apothecary for Kaios? Oh, not quite in position. I feel like if the Apothecary was close enough to provide a heal, I don't think the retreat on those Assault Marines would have been necessary. As it is, it's looking like a rout onto Katla yet again. Victory points in favor of our Chaos players, despite what it feels like to generally be a winning matchup in favor of Kaios and Cursecrab on the right side of the map. We'll see if they can get a generator bash done this time. They weren't so successful last time. They just need to have their range units just target the generators. So right now the range units, just the tactical marines as well as the scouts. They're kind of split on their targets. Katla's coming out. Okay, now they all focus onto one target, deciding to prioritize the generator. They might even be able to just get another one here, especially if the Apothecary and the Force Commander can just buy some space. The Apothecary actually takes too much damage and goes down. All right, now it is our Space Marine players kind of going to be met by overwhelming force as Katla and Local finally moving out together in a way that really is, you know, empowering them and enabling them to win this engagement. So it's mostly been a 2v2 on the right, a 1v1 on the left, as I'm pretty sure that Ununium and his opponent would be NoRealFilter, have pretty much just fought each other for the whole game. Shotgun Scouts, meanwhile, going to lose a model. They will use a grenade, though! Look at all those heretics that got caught by that grenade. That's a total of every model that was not the Aspiring Champion going down from that grenade. So that is one of those good, old-fashioned foot grenades that is kind of very controversial in Elite Mod this day and age. It's been around forever, but there are some people who just really, really dislike the short-range grenade throws as a way of hard punishing melee squads on approach. Alright, one of those Chaos Space Marine models is going to go down, and finally we do actually have... So, Cursecrab looks like our mid lane player, and he is switching over now. But while that's happening, they're no longer putting the pressure onto Katla, and Katla will take advantage of that. Take advantage of the extra space that she's been given to just get a full generator bash. I mean, she's got Noise Marines, she's got double Chaos Space Marines with Eternal War. She is going to destroy those farms pretty quickly. Raptors and Assault Marines in combat, both looking pretty low on hit points, so the Assault Marines will jump out. Oh, but they just barely lose a model right after jumping out. I don't know where the Raptors are jumping. Alright, Raptors maybe just looking to see if they can tag a few of those tactical Marines on retreat, but they won't find themselves getting any. So we've got this Power Sword Force Commander. Cursecrab still just with the default unupgraded Force Commander, but he's also the first player to have a Tier 2 unit out on the field. It's going to be this Librarian, and he's already putting some money into upgrades. He's got the Force Staff. I believe he has one other upgrade as well. Force Staff granting the Force Barrier ability. Oh, but man, talk about upgrades. We've got double fully upgraded Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines, the Team Games Special. This is almost strictly a Team Games build for Chaos, and it does an absurd amount of range damage, and it's good against just about everything, against vehicles, and even against vehicles, it's not terrible. However, it is bad when you're just getting tied up by melee units. These Chaos Space Marines actually having a lot more trouble being effective than my description would have given them any indication of being. As one squad of Chaos Space Marines just being chased down by the Librarian, who's got a power melee Force Staff, 71.43 damage, and then the Force Commander from Cursecrab. He will also be looking for the Power Sword as his upgrade. A little bit surprising to see him go for the Power Sword now that he's just straight up in Tier 2. The Power Sword I don't feel is a terribly common... I do personally feel that these days it's a less common upgrade, and I think in many ways it always has been. It's a Tier 1 upgrade, but since it's a Tier 1 upgrade, that means its base stats, or rather its stats, are just worse than a Tier 2 weapon upgrade. So typically, there are a lot of times where if you're not playing against a power armor race, you usually don't go for the power sword, and even then, oftentimes, if you get to tier 2, you're going to choose one of the other weapons. So interesting to see this anyway. It can certainly still work well. I mean, you know, NoRealFilter's been rocking it since tier 1. Power melee damage will do great. Works well with Assault Marines, which NoRealFilter actually does not have. It's not bad. It's actually good with Tactical Marines as well. But you need to keep it close enough. Anyway, Power Sword Force Commander looking for a special attack on the Raptors. Raptors instead just going for the Devastator Marines. Devastator's in trouble, but the lead model goes down. The other models are further back. 2 Raptor models go down. Luckily for Ununium, it wasn't the aspiring champion. Ununium also with double Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines. His not quite fully upgraded, although it's also possible that they had aspiring champions and simply lost them. We'll see a plasma gun on some of the Tactical Marines as well, and this is NoRealFilter. So he's got a level 2 tank squad with a plasma gun. This second tank squad, it might be worth turning it into Stern Guard veterans, but a big engagement happening right here. The Librarian, kind of alone. He's going to use the Force Barrier just to knock over all these units. I mean, it's interesting. It's funny. The Force Barrier. Oh, Plasma Cannon Shot goes down. Plasma Cannon Shot will miss, however, and we're also going to see some upgrades on this Plague Champion. We are going to see the Armor of Pestilence along with the Plague Fist, so this is going to be turning the Plague Champion from a ranged hero to a melee tank, and he's a rather slow one, but he just gets a lot of health from that Armor of Pestilence. This Plague Fist, aside from the heavy melee damage it does, also very powerful for the stun that it has. Alright, talk about upgrades. We've got a Chaos Lord, Lightning Claws, as well as the Icon of Khorne. So that Icon of Khorne allowing him to return health each time he does a melee attack. And the Lightning Claws also do attack quite fast. So usually when players are looking to go get real tanky with the Chaos Lord, they will go for the Lightning Claws. Meanwhile, that is going to be a Force Commander down. Does the Chaos Space Marine get out of there, though? Looks like it does. Librarian's still here, though. The Devastator Marines will be taken out, however. Meanwhile, this Librarian's honestly kind of in trouble. Oh, my God. Okay, the Raptors are going to try to engage him. They won't have a jump opportunity, though, so if this isn't the kill, then that means the Librarian is safe. Katla will be moving over through the middle with her double Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines. We are going to see Tier 3 for LocalGhost, while just about everyone else still actually in Tier 2 for a little bit of time. And with Katla's resources, it looks like she's probably having some trouble with requisition, given that she's got a huge amount of power, much more than you would need to go to Tier 2, or rather Tier 3. But her requisition is quite low. Possibly losing models on those double Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines. Well, regardless, she can go to Tier 3 now, does start it. Assault Marines, not Assault Marines, Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines and Noise Marines going to be moving in again. They're looking for another Generator Bash. The Assault Marines are here, though. But the Assault Marines are kind of by themselves. I think, yeah, these Assault Marines can very much be counter-initiated on. We might see a Merciless Strike. There it is, and disrupting the Chaos Heretics, but the Plague Champion's going to get in here as well, so those Assault Marines can't stick around. Should be another Generator Bash. Plasma Dev looking to set up, possibly going to knock down the Noise Marines. I think the Noise Marines finish off one of those generators. They'll okay, they will start actually on the node. No! The Plasma Dev. I thought it was going to hit the Noise Marines. Instead, it targeted the Plague Champion and did friendly fire to the Scouts. All right, this time it hits the Noise Marines. Noise Marines just going to retreat. They do lose a model. And the Plague Champion is here by himself. He is going to need to probably just get out of here soon. As tanky as he is, this is just too much for him to deal with. He's still in here. Still possibly looking for a model on those Tactical Marines, but has to be real careful that he doesn't get killed himself, and he should be just fine. Librarian, meanwhile, getting off the field. Oh, He's got a lot of upgrades. Yeah, with that much health, that means he's fully upgraded. He has every single upgrade. And he's also level 2. So this gives you a pretty tanky librarian. 1,120 hit points. Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines taking shots, and they'll just, oh man, with the way they open fire before the Tactical Marines can really get into cover, Tactical Marines just take way too much damage, and it's a retreat for them. They were in there like another second, they probably would have lost a model. Alright, here comes the Force Commander as well as the Librarian, but the Predator just putting so much damage on them on approach does scare them off, although that's kind of an unnecessary, actually, yeah, it's alright. Force Commander fully upgraded. We've actually already seen that Sacred Standard, especially the time that when he went down. Sacred Standard grants your own infantry 25% increased damage, but when the Force Commander dies, it's 40% increased damage. So it's a pretty big damage buff there. Meanwhile, what's going on over here? Raptors jumping in on some Tactical Marines. Assault Marines are pretty low, so this is going to be a lost fight for Chaos. So Katla's going to start moving back out, I suppose. Katla still has her Noise Marines. Yes, they don't even have an upgrade. Probably still looking for Generator Bash runs on this side. Meanwhile, talk about a Generator Bash run. Talk about some Assault Marines jumping in. They're going to throw a Melt-A-Bomb onto the Predator, but there will be no follow-up. The Assault Marines are the only unit that's even close here. Chains of Torment also going to be locking those Assault Marines in place, and the Chaos Space Marines will just declare open season on them. Level 3 Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines. Space Marines really getting pushed back at this time. Victory points are still pretty even, but the Chaos Force is really pushing up. However, that is going to be a dead Chaos Lord. Alright, so Chaos will be backing up a bit. One lost Chaos Hero. Unfortunately for Ununium, he's not in a great position to buy back, and it won't be easy for his teammates to get a revive there. Ooh, Raptors stay in just to knock over the Force Commander, but unfortunately for them, they lost a model in the process. You know, these Chaos Terminators moving forward, they got to be real careful here. There's lots of plasma damage. They're really unsupported. They've lost about a fifth of their hit points. You know, Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines from Katla managed to dodge that grenade. Let's also take a look at the levels on these. So level 2 on each. Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines, double level 3 for Ununium on his double Chaos Space Marines. Chaos Space Marines, a very killy squad because they do have rather high damage and are good against many different targets, but Space Marines still a race that, you know, is a little resistant to dying. Unfortunately, this does mean Ununium here is engaging only with one of his Chaos Space Marine squads. The other one kind of forced off prematurely. Gate of Infinity to pull the Stern Guard veterans out of there, but they're not quite out of the fire yet, as they're still taking damage from the Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines. Meanwhile, Assault Marines jump in. This needs to be some counter-initiation from the Heretics. Otherwise, these Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines are just straight up off the field. Okay, instead, the Terminators... Oh, because the Terminators have Lightning Claws. Only just realizing that right now. And they will slice those Assault Marines apart. The Heretics, okay, they get disrupted by the Assault Marine jump. If anything, that was kind of a risky Assault Marine jump. This is going to be a Tzeentch, not Tzeentch. Well, it is Tzeentch. It's the Sorcerer. Sorcerer does have the Sigil of the Rift here, trying to pull the Devastator Marines in. He pulled in friendly Heretics. Not his own Heretics, but his allies' Heretics. And Chaos starting to appear to run away with this game as the victory points, they still have the double cap. It's 301 to 181 in their favor, still ticking down for them. Generator Bash will happen, should be the end of this power farm. And we also have LocalGhost getting the Great Unclean One out on the field. We have Ununium and Katla, both with Terminators. Meanwhile, our Space Marine players, they're all in Tier 3, but none of them are actually in a great position to buy a Tier 3 unit. So this is a really tough situation for them. They don't have any Tier 3 units. They don't have much time. So realistically, they're going to want to make a push without the Tier 3 units, but it's not working that well at the moment. What I would say I don't quite like is our Space Marine players doubling Katla at the moment. I guess my thinking is, or their thinking is, they still want to protect the generator farm, but I think it's time for Cursecrab, who I believe is our mid lane player, to double the left side of the map along with NoRealFilter so that they can get the victory points. I mean, I guess they still kind of have time. We'll see. Harness of Rage is going to be picked up on the Chaos Lord. Let's take a look at some other upgrades. Fully upgraded Sorcerer. Plague Champion likes to do this thing where he stays in here quite a bit longer than he perhaps should. Oh, these are some chosen Plague Marines, by the way, from Katla. Rather low on models, though. They've lost quite a few models. Okay, victory points have actually been stalled out at the moment, as our Space Marine players have actually decapped the Chaos Natural. We got a Predator here taking shots at some Terminators. This is a Mark of Nurgle Predator. So the Mark of Nurgle Predator actually not super great against the Terminators, but at the same time, you know, it can just pepper the Terminators from ranged. Raptors jumping in, getting that suppression, then we just have the Tzeentch Chaos Space Marine fire coming in. I mean, this is probably a common theme that we will see in this series, kind of the range superiority of the Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines. I forget, actually, if how well Stern Guards do by comparison on their Vengeance rounds. I'll have to look that one up again. I think they're still worse than Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines in terms of raw damage output. All right. Big. Oh my! Did that just wipe a squad? You got to be kidding me. That shot actually just wiped the rest of that Tzeentch Chaos Space Marine squad. I mean, it wasn't at full health, but it wasn't super low either. I feel like it was 60, maybe even 70%. I guess it was just a super good hit. So, a nice small victory for our Space Marine players. That wipe on the Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines, but yeah, unfortunately for them, at least right now, it's still not enough. So Cursecrab finally realizes, I mean, they got to take back the victory points at some point. Unfortunately, his Stern Guard veterans kind of tanking the Tzeentch Chaos Space Marine fire. Stern Guard veterans already retreating. Meanwhile, Assault Marines jumping in, they get a Merciless Strike, but they themselves are already super low. And it doesn't look like our Space Marine players are doing that well in this fight. Some Space Marine units are moved up forward. The Predator has absolutely no threat on it whatsoever, because we also have this great unclean one up in their faces. We're going to have some subjugated Terminators. I believe Teleport was burned, but not too much else from the subjugation on those Terminators. There actually might have been some interactions that I missed there, because they... Oh, okay, Predator is now under some threat, but no flesh over steel used there on the Chaos Predator. I don't know if it was attempted and then missed and the Predator actually moved away. Melta-Raptors is something you don't see every day. Alright, these Lightning Claw Terminators, along with this other guy who basically looks like a Lightning Claw Terminator named the Chaos Lord, really just chopping them up. I mean, if you actually look, they look very similar. I remember I once got in trouble because I claimed that the Chaos Lord's Terminator armor was stolen because I had read somewhere on, like, Lexicadum or something that Forces of Chaos often steal Terminator armor, and somebody claimed that it actually wasn't. Hope you like that story. Anyway, Assault Marines, I don't think they get out. Oh, actually, those are some Vanguard veterans. We're going to see the Vanguard veteran zombie jump. Does not manage to finish off the Vanguard veteran squad, though. Okay, this is possibly the last-ditch effort. At most, they might have like one more try after that, but look at the damage that those double Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines are doing. I mean, it's like none of the units that that NoRealFilter has right now can reasonably just tank Tzeentch Chaos Space Marine fire. The only thing that can reasonably tank Tzeentch Chaos Space Marine fire would be a vehicle. Problem with a vehicle is that it can't cap, so they wouldn't be able to get the victory point. Wow! That squad is dead. Okay, this is some Sorcerer cheese on the Terminators. These Terminators are done. Probably a Chains of Torment right after that, and then there's absolutely nothing they can do. Chains of Torment can't even be used just yet. The squad is... Oh, Gate of Infinity pulls them out. Okay, NoRealFilter kind of recognizes he's playing against the Sorcerer and knows that if he's going to use Terminators, he's going to have to deal with that stuff. I thought those Terminators were for sure goners, but they weren't. These Tactical Marines might be goners, and our Space Marine players in general might be goners in this game. Bloodlust is going to be activated. Absolutely going to be a winning fight here. And at this point, NoRealFilter, I think they're kind of thrown in the towel, and this is probably game number 1 going in favor of the Forces of Chaos. We'll have an Imperial Abyss, I suppose, just in base. Looks like a desperate attempt by Chaos to gain control of the natural victory point of the Chaos team, but at this point, they just have so few units in comparison to the Chaos team that even if they can stall this out for some more seconds, like 10, 15 seconds, maybe a minute at most, I don't think they can sustain it. That's going to be an orbital thrown down. Vanguard veterans might get caught in the orbital, except the orbital is in other places. The orbital so far not catching anything. So it's actually a double cap for Space Marine players with the control of the Chaos Natural Victory Point, but as we can see, the Tactical Marines are getting forced off. The Vanguard veterans are idling, and they're incredibly low on hit points. They're going down pretty soon. Plague Champion will just decap that, then look for the full cap. The Vanguard veteran's going to eat it. I think the Space Marine Predator might be able to finish off the Chaos Predator, but it's very much going to be a small victory at this point. I'm not even 100% sure that it does, and it's concerned about its own well-being. Okay, it does finish it off. Alright. The Plague Champion has regained control of the victory point, though, and that will be game number 1 going in favor of our Chaos players. Game number 2 is going to take place on Grey Sark Undercity. Our first player, Ununium, going to be playing as the Plague Champion this time. LocalGhost going to be staying on Sindri, Trollface, Chaos Sorcerer. And Katla will be switching over to the Chaos Lord, wherever she is. There it is. Alright, the other team. oLev will be stepping in for Chaos. He will be playing as the Ultramarines Force Commander. Cursecrab going to be playing as the Apothecary this time, and NoRealFilter going over to the Tech Marine, Space Marine ranged hero with a gun for every occasion and the ability to repair vehicles. So, our Chaos players off to a good start. Let's see what our Space Marine players can do to come back into this series. We're going to see 2 Space Marine commanders up here, possibly going to be working together to achieve something. I mean, kind of the way this map works, it does lend itself to kind of like a 1v1 bottom and then a little bit more of a 2v2 up top. Both the Apothecary and the Force Commander looking to get into melee. But it would be nice if they did have some ranged units to support them, because they will get kited a little bit in the process. Apothecary are going to switch targets over to the Plague Champion. More scouts coming in, and finally Tactical Marines also coming in for oLev. oLev going for triple scouts. Triple scouts is an interesting one. I wonder what his thinking is for going triple scouts against Chaos in a 3v3. We'll see how that works out. Perhaps he'll be going for some snipers. Perhaps he just wants a lot of utility. Maybe get some wants a lot of grenade throws in. Maybe some wonderful foot grenades, which people love, except that they don't. Meanwhile, I did say a 1v1 bottom, but as it turns out, we're actually going to have a bit of a double here. with both Katla and LocalGhost pushing into the bottom. So they'll get the victory point. One of the things I personally feel about this map, though, is that it's pretty hard to push into the bottom power farm of your opponent. However, the top power farm, on the other hand, not quite as much, and it does look like this is Ununium getting pushed back a little bit. So, okay, so oLev is going to have one squad with one sniper scout squad with a sniper rifle. And, well, that's actually going to be pretty effective against Ununium at the moment, since he is not worshipping with his heretics. I mean, he's also got Chaos Space Marines in melee with the tax. Tactical Marines are content to be in melee for the moment, because they're also getting a lot of support here. So it's looking pretty good for oLev. However, one of his scout squads getting pretty low. I think it's going to... No, it does not get out of there with those 2 models remaining. One more will go down. The sniper scout squad still putting in damage, though, at long range. 55 units of range is the sniper scout's range. By comparison, the default range for most units is 38. Now double sniper scouts. So yeah, I mean, I guess this isn't actually really hugely surprising. If you're going for more than 2 scout squads in a team game, it usually does indicate that you are going to be looking for sniper rifles. These heretics down to no heretics and only an aspiring champion. This aspiring champion is crazy, and he's also going to be dead soon. Oh, he's finished off, I think, there by the powerful sweep from the Tech Marine, upgraded to Bionics, dealing 45 melee damage when he uses that. This is fun war gear, gives the Tech Marine a nice disruptive ability, an area of effect knockback ability around him called Powerful Sweep. Also does give him some extra health and some health regeneration, though not as much as the Artificer armor. Sniper Scouts moving off, trying to just kite away, using their faster movement speed rather than just retreating, because if he doesn't retreat them, they can back up and continue to put in just damage pressure at a range where Ununium just can't answer it, especially Ununium. Okay, he's getting Raptors, which makes sense. I think without the Raptors, there's not a whole lot he can do. He's going to struggle mightily. But Ununium is able to kind of bait the Force Commander a little bit too far forward. Force Commander retreats, and then with the Force Commander retreating, Scouts are retreating as well. I don't actually feel that it was even that necessary to retreat the Scouts. They could continue to just outrange the Chaos Space Marines, take shots from a distance. But I guess he also just wanted to reinforce that Scout model. He's also got another Scout squad that has no upgrades whatsoever, which is interesting to see that. I mean, I guess that means my guess is he eventually might look to be putting shotguns on that, but it also would actually not be bad if he just got another sniper rifle. But what would be bad is if he got the sniper rifle in Tier 1. So what he's probably doing is he's probably waiting until Tier 2 before he gets an upgrade, and whatever upgrade it is on the Scouts, because since he already bought 2 sniper rifles, he's already spent a lot of power, and he doesn't want to be too far behind in getting to Tier 2. Wow, our Space Marine players all roughly getting to Tier 2 at the same time, or at least having the resources, while our Chaos players floating a little bit. Every single one of them could have already activated Tier 2, and now NoRealFilter is beginning Tier 2 earlier than Katla and Ununium, who actually had more resources than him. Cursecrab and oLev also a little bit slow on pressing those buttons. Also just realized we have the oLev Force Commander. Last few times I cast the oLev Force Commander, it was, you know, it wasn't his best showing, and it probably made him look like a worse player than he really is. oLev is actually a really, really good player, but Space Marines is not his main race. He is primarily a Tyranid player, at least to my knowledge, and with Tyranids he is quite good. And I'm sure he could probably beat me just fine with Space Marines, but the last few times I've seen him play Space Marines, his showing was less than perfect. Short rate... I don't know what Local was doing there. I really don't. I think he wanted to pull the Tactical Marines into the firing arc of the Havoc, but Cursecrab was paying attention and he just moved his Tactical Marines out of the way. Would have just been better off pulling in the Devastators, I suppose, except for the fact that he would have pulled the Devastators right in front of him, the Sorcerer, that is, and probably didn't want to do that, actually. Wow, simultaneous. Carry the Emperor's will as your torch. I think that might have been from both of the attack squads there. Probably from activating their Kraken bolts. That actually is one of my favorite voice lines from the Space Marines in this game. Carry the Emperor's will as your torch. I love that one. How are our players doing up here? oLev, yet another player rocking that Power Sword Force Commander. Artificer Armor as well. Artificer Armor is just, I would say, is by far the most popular armor upgrade for the Force Commander. At this point, it really just seems like Armor of Alacrity is honestly pretty rare. Meanwhile, Tactical Marines sticking around in here, going to activate Kraken Bolts because it does actually improve their melee damage. But eventually they will get out of there. These Chaos Space Marines still here as well, but they will overwhelm the Scouts. Scouts had shotguns, but they did not have a shotgun blast ready to really capitalize on the fact that they had shotguns against Chaos Space Marines. Double Plasma. Double Plasma, are they both level 2? No. Wait, oh no, that's, yeah, one of them's level 1. So interesting to see the Double Plasma. It's, I think, my personal opinion is that if you go double Tactical Marines, then make whichever one is the lower level squad, Stern Guard Veterans, come tier 2 instead of giving it a weapon upgrade. Since, for the most part, a Stern Guard Veteran squad is just superior to a Tactical Marine squad. There would be, I think, very few arguments that you could make in favor of Attack Squad being better. But typically, the time when you don't upgrade Attack Squad to Stern Guard Veterans is when it already has levels. Because when you upgrade to Stern Guard Veterans, you will lose the levels. Shotgun Blast going to knock over the Heretic, so it does, yeah, it does indeed seem that was oLev's plan. He did not get the shotgun upgrade in tier 1 because he wanted to just save those resources because he had already invested so much in his sniper scouts. Meanwhile, what a nice Assault Cannon Barrage. Came back at just the right time. Assault Cannon Barrage not actually inflicting too many losses unless there was a aspiring champion who was killed here, but still forced them off the field. And, you know, I really sang the praises of the Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines in the last game. Yeah, I mean, fully upgraded Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines in team games can be very, very powerful. In 1v1, it has a lot of problems because it's such a massive resource investment, and you're lacking a lot of utility. You just get a lot of raw damage. But in team games, it can work. But the Assault Cannon Dreadnought is also a great answer, actually, to the Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines. Going to inflict bleed on the Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines while just kind of shrugging off much of the damage that the Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines would do in return. And, of course, that Assault Cannon Barrage just to knock all of them on their asses, possibly kill a few models in the process. Shotgun Scouts, meanwhile, going a little bit too forward. Ooh, grenade connects, but does not result in a model kill. Both models just very, very low. Bloodletters, meanwhile, coming in here. A second squad of Bloodletters, and that's going to be oLev off the field. This is going to... oLev's life is now going to be quite tough. Local actually went for double Bloodletters. Yeah, this is going to be pretty tough for oLev to do things now with the build that he has. He is not very well equipped to counter melee squads. I mean, he's got those lone shotgun scouts, and he's got a Power Sword Force Commander. Thunderhammer would obviously be better. And having more than one shotgun scout would as well. oLev's going to go to tier 3. It'll be interesting to see what he gets in tier 3. Terminators would actually probably not be such a great choice against this Bloodletter heavy play, especially ranged Terminators. I think actually, yeah, what he needs is a vehicle. Yeah, looking at Ununium's build as well as Local's build, tier 3 vehicles are gonna hit Local and Ununium pretty hard, and even Katla. Katla can at least slow them down for a little bit. But even here, the Plague Marine's not actually going to be that strong. Yeah, actually, okay. The Plasma Cannon Devastator, rather the Noise Marines in there, does put some threat on the Dreadnought. Dreadnought's going to take another shot. The Tech Marine and the Shotgun Scout Squad can actually out-repair the damage of the Plague Marines. And we see the Plague Marines just taking a lot of damage there, eventually lose a model, even as tanky as they are. So I guess right now Katla has the combination of the Plague Marines as well as the Blastmaster Noise Marines. This is actually... Oh, this Chaos Lord... Oh, we need to kite him, though, especially the Shotgun Scouts. The Shotgun Scouts would do plenty of damage to the Chaos Lord. They're kiting a little too much. Go and shoot him. Ooh, sink kill by the Dreadnought. Dreadnought now in quite a bit of trouble because there's another Dreadnought on the other side. Tech Marine just barely getting out of there alive. Oh, man. He's got some repairs coming in. He does not have Blessing of the Omnicide. Oh, he just used it. I was checking his red, and it looked like he didn't have much red. But that's because he literally just activated the ability. He's going to get a second Dreadnought. Meanwhile, Chaos Dreadnought uses Frenzied Barrage on these Devastators. Devastators are in a huge amount of trouble. All right, Devastators will be fine now. Turret is set up. This is a rather curious position for a turret. And the Dreadnought does not care. Oh, not just a turret, but a Teleporter Relay Beacon. I think okay, this Dreadnought, I don't think is having great target priority. Oh no, and now it's going to be walking into a Las Cannon Devastator. It doesn't even have Frenzied Barrage. That should be the end of this Tzeentch Dreadnought. Yeah, I didn't like the target priority on this Dreadnought. I think it should have committed to either taking out the missile launcher turret, well, I don't even know if it originally was a missile launcher turret, but taking out the turret and or taking out the relay beacon. It was chasing squads, trying to force melee. I don't feel that was the greatest choice there. So this is looking like a stronger game for our Space Marine players. Here's a Bloodletter teleport in. They're going to teleport into a lot of stuff, though. Oh, no. He's just going to straight up lose the squad. He was trying to count on the reinforcement from the summoning circle, but they just got killed so quickly. They were just so deep against so many other units, even though individually a lot of these squads are not that great at countering melee. I mean, the Bloodletters, they were just focused down. Ooh, it should be a dead sorcerer as well. LocalGhost having all kinds of trouble right now. He's going to be going to Tier 3 while his teammates are still in Tier 2. Ununium does not have the double Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines, which it's actually okay because it probably is more important for him to try to get to Tier 3. Oh my god, the requisition income for him is absolutely brutal as well. Only plus 161. I think that might also be one of the other problems of going double Chaos Space Marines. Oh no, and look at all the models he's losing! This is hurting so much for Ununium. Meanwhile, it does look like, oh my god, and Katla also getting really, really hard punished here. So one of the things about Chaos is that one of the big changes from retail to elite is that Chaos is not quite as flexible in terms of their ability to respond to vehicles when Tier 2 rolls around. And one of the big reasons for that is that Bloodletters were changed from heavy melee to power melee. And suddenly, the anti-vehicle options for Chaos become quite a bit more limited. Additionally, the only units that you can upgrade from Tier 1 to do anti-vehicle are the Havoc and the Noise Marine. And Noise Marines, it's also a little bit more debatable about how reliable that is. My god, these Chaos Space Marines, though, they just absolutely cannot tank the damage of these double Assault Cannon Dreadnoughts. The Assault Cannon Dreadnoughts will out-trade them, absolutely. I mean, the Dreadnoughts, they're not under any risk of dying against Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines. Honestly, they're not really under any risk of dying against a single Noise Marine squad. Honestly, not Noise Marines, single Plague Marine squad. Honestly, even double Plague Marines is not that strong. And that is the concede already. Okay, so our series is now evened up while we just get to listen to the obnoxiously loud sound of these double assault cannons being frozen in time. game number 3 will take place on Argus Desert Gate. We've got Ununium as the Chaos Lord once again. Katla going to be going to the Plague Champion. And LocalGhost as Sindri, Trollface, Chaos Sorcerer. Their opponents on the Space Marine side, oLev going to be playing as the Force Commander, NoRealFilter on that Tech Marine again, and Cursecrab playing as the Apothecary. There it is. I don't know why this game does that, where you select a unit and it just like doesn't appear for a couple of seconds. Alright, so Cursecrab taking advantage of that scout mobility, moving them up a little bit closer, getting the victory point early on, but that does mean the requisition point will be a little bit delayed, as the Tactical Marines will probably be moving over to that. Maybe the Apothecary moves over from the power. See, it looks like same thing down here bottom. And they've actually taken some damage. From what, though? Maybe some Doom Bolts from the Sorcerer.
Your forces obey you.
Not a whole lot happening just yet. NoRealFilter moving through the middle, soon gonna find Katla. Meanwhile, it does look like oLev and Local have already found each other. Sorcerer manages to dodge the knockback by just walking forward, but oh no, he tries to throw in a Doom Bolts at the Tactical Marines, and they stop just a little bit short. The Heretics just need to get out of here. I don't even think this is the time to worship. The Heretics are exposed. They're down to 3 models. They're not going to win the engagement with that. And the Chaos Space Marines, they might just want to retreat too before they just lose a model, because they don't win this fight no matter what. He's trying to pull them out. He's trying to bring the support of the Chaos Space Marines. This might not be too bad. Yeah, he can't take cover. He just needs to just kite the Force Commander. Okay, he's actually doing it now. He might try to punish it. The Force melee on the Force Commander. I don't know if it'll be enough to kill the Force Commander, but he is managing to turn this fight. It's pretty close. 3 hit points. 2. 1, and just barely doesn't get it at 1. Still taking a few shots here. But both squads of Chaos Space Marines retreating yet again. Actually, that might have been the first time they retreated all game. Bionics coming out for NoRealFilter, so that seems to be his preferred war gear. Can be very, very good against Heretics if it is used when Heretics try to get into melee. You just knock them all over the place. Does quite a bit of damage against them, too. It's that 45 damage, and individual Heretic models only have about 75 hit points at level 1 without an Aspiring Champion. Alright, Devastator Marine will be setting up for NoRealFilter. Gonna catch the Plague Champion right there, so he will be retreating out. But it looks like this is Ununium having a pretty good time of things up top. Looking like the node will be taken down while our Chaos players do have power farms on both sides. This one not quite full, but only missing a single generator. Yeah, our Space Marine players just don't have the power farms that our Chaos players do. It's not comparable. Even a node in the middle for our Chaos players, so there definitely should be a bit ahead on power. It depends also what kind of investments they've got. They've got plus 47 income, and in general, every Chaos player, most Chaos players actually, higher power held than our Space Marine players. So we could be looking at a Tier 2 advantage for our Chaos players. We could be looking at Blood Crushers. Could be looking at early Bloodletters. We could also be looking at a Dead Sorcerer here. And that will indeed be the case. Sorcerer really does need to be careful when he's getting knocked back. He doesn't quite have the health pool of a tanky melee hero. 650 hit points compared to, 1,000 of the Chaos Lord. This is an upgraded Force Commander with 1,020. His baseline health is something in the 800s, though. Some upgrades out of our Apothecary. Sanguine Chainsword as well as the Purification Rites. This is something I've seen from... think of this as a Dark Riku build. Riku is a player who I've seen running this basically in the past year. Gives the Apothecary a lot of self-sustain so that he can have just a lot of sticking power in combat, and then also try to save his heal for his squads rather than have to use it on himself. You might need that heal pretty soon. We are going to see the Heretics with a little bit of a flank on the Tactical Marines. Tactical Marines will actually pull out of there in time. Heretics will probably still get into melee. Nope, they'll back off because they do see the Shotgun Scouts approaching. So this Apothecary, he regenerates health when he attacks, both with his melee attack and his ranged attack. Melee does regenerate more health. Might need to use a heal on himself anyway, does indeed use it. As he's going in here pretty deep without support. He's going to need to retreat or he's going to go down. Devastator Marine Squad, though, does cover his retreat. So once those heretics try to continue their chase, Devastator Marines just suppress them. And we don't have a great answer out of Ununium. He's going to try to just speed the Chaos Lord in. Devastator Marine's not even shooting at the Chaos Lord, so the Chaos Lord makes it. And that should be enough. But the rest of his units, yeah, actually, some of his units are going to have to retreat, but it does look like this should still be a winning fight. That's the retreat from the scouts. Tactical Marines managed to get a generator bash before they can be tied up, and don't lose a model for it. Oh no, the second Havoc is not set up here for LocalGhost. But it looks like this squad of shotgun scouts does not have a grenade ready. They did not have shotguns ready. They're throwing a grenade, but they're dying. They die before they even throw the grenade. Oh no, oLev. Cursed to... He's just cursed whenever he plays Space Marines on broadcast.
Brothers, return fire!
Double cap for our Space Marine players, so they are winning, however. And our Chaos players moving on out. We're going to have Grenade Launcher Heretics retaking the natural victory point. Their natural victory point, that is. Chaos players, well, it might be a victory point lead for Space Marines, but Chaos players with a rather resounding tech lead at the moment. Yeah, even Cursecrab, he had the power, but not even the requisition to start Tier 2. And Katla's already there. Local and Ununium are in the middle of upgrading. Rather interesting turret. Secures this power farm for the Space Marines, I suppose. At least until this gets flanked. Alright, double Tactical Marines moving in. One will actually try to go for the cap on the victory point. Devastator Marines setting up in the back. This is a really good position here for Cursecrab. I would be very surprised if he doesn't win this engagement. He'll just fall back to the suppression of his Devastator Marine Squad, suppressing the heretics. But his Apothecary is still overextended. Ooh. The Chaos Lord tried to get in there, does not even manage to unset up the Havoc. However, we've got... Does Cursecrab retarget in time? Okay, he doesn't quite retarget the scouts. This is one of the things we're constantly seeing in this game. Scouts that are literally dying in their attempts to throw a grenade. Okay, there's still double Chaos Space Marines here, but we've also got double Tax and a Devastator. This should go in favor of the double Tax and a Devastator. Oh, and we've got more support coming in from NoRealFilter. Does mean this should be another generator bash happening. Yeah, I mean, this should be a full farm. Like, yeah, I mean, this is Ununium. It's gonna be a little bit of time before he can get back on out of there. Should be a full farm. How is oLev doing in the bottom, though? Doing a little bit better than last time I checked, as he will be pushing LocalGhost off the field. And now LocalGhost goes for a blind Plague Marine purchase. I don't personally like this. I personally don't believe that there is a good reason to buy Plague Marines proactively. They aren't a strong proactive unit at all. They're almost strictly a reactive unit, and even as a reactive unit, they're like kind of just okay. I mean, if Plague Marines are not shooting at a vehicle, they don't get a whole lot of value. And yes, I'm aware of the other things they do. They do some relatively small amounts of range damage. They also have a slowing effect when they get into melee. They can tie things up, but still. Alright, for the time being, he does manage to push oLev off. oLev manages to take this down to only one generator left. I'm pretty sure this is a new power farm that has been rebought after being destroyed. Katla moving out of here with a Dreadnought. And our Space Marine players, let's see what they have. We're going to see a las cannon upgraded for NoRealFilter. Looks like this should be a generator bash in return with the autocannon dreadnought, not assault cannon, autocannon dreadnought. They can bash more of this, especially with that dreadnought there, as long as they just target it. Okay, dreadnought is targeting it. Yeah, with that explosive damage on that autocannon, it's just taking it out pretty quickly. Moving back, possibly worried about getting flanked. Oh, he actually sees the movement because the Plague Champion is here. And no hard anti-vehicle. Oh no, the las cannon is here. This thing is walking into the fire of the las cannon. Okay, Katla needs to do something about this. What is her answer? Like, okay, it's actually just a lot of damage pressure on it. I was thinking, like, tie them up with these Chaos Space Marines, but there was actually just so much damage put on the las cannon that it needed to retreat, or it would risk going down entirely. Victory points still strongly in favor of our Space Marine players. NoRealFilter actually going to Tier 3. Our Chaos players not keeping control of their victory point. And unfortunately for Local, he's finding himself getting bashed here while oLev is guarding a power farm. This is kind of crazy. And you know what? I mean, our Chaos players had a lead in tech, but none of them really did anything to really capitalize on that lead. They didn't press their advantage in that regard. Maybe Ununium to some extent, but, you know, Dreadnought just so expensive that it's going to take a long time to get out. Local went for Plague Marines. All right, turrets will be taken down, but looks like we're going to have a big fight up here. Here is a Space Marine Dreadnought, and they are up against Ununium, who has no anti-vehicle whatsoever. He can do nothing about this Dreadnought. So this Dreadnought is just going to run a train. It's going to take out his heretics, and that is part of the problem of going for builds like this. All right. If you don't have a Havoc in your Tier 1 build, you don't have a unit that you can just easily upgrade to anti-vehicle at a low cost come Tier 2. He went for the Bloodletters as well, which in Elite Mod are not really sufficient as anti-vehicle, and that will be game number 2, going in favor of our Space Marines. Game number 4 will take place on Cathari Ruins. Our first player, LocalGhost, still on Sindri, Trollface, Chaos Sorcerer. Katla going to be playing as the Plague Champion. Ununium also going to be playing as yet another Plague Champion. Their opponents on the Space Marine side, NoRealFilter, sticking with that Tech Marine. Cursecrab going to be the Apothecary once again. And finally, it's oLev on the Force Commander. So our Apothecary moving out into the middle. So is the Plague Champion. Will they discover each other sometime soon? Who knows? Another Plague Champion. He'll be looking for the victory point. Scouts are nearby. Those scouts, though, would not want to really engage the Plague Champion in combat by themselves. They would need some other units for support. Alright. Apothecary finds himself getting into melee with the Plague Champion. We'll just tie him up. The other Plague Champion, meanwhile, he will just be targeted by the scouts. He's not in a position where he can shoot back while capping at the same time. Alright, now this Plague Champion getting shot at from multiple directions while also trying to shoot at the melee heroes that are overrunning the rest of the Chaos Army. Apothecary in melee with the Plague Champion. Apothecary does not have a heal, though. Heal has been used. This is actually possibly a dead Apothecary. Overextended, melee from the heretics, that'll be it. And, you know, that Apothecary, especially without a heal, he's not very tanky. Force Commander actually just going to go for a revive right here. Normally this wouldn't be an easy position to get a revive, but the Force Commander's already here. Still got Space Marine units here, pushing back Chaos units. Tactical Marines, though, losing models. They got, look at that retreat path. Oh my god, I would be so angry if I had that retreat path. Luckily, it wasn't punished too badly. But the fact that they had to go forward around that corner before they could go back is, in other circumstances, that could be pretty rage-inducing. Heretics, meanwhile, going to be taking care of this generator, and for the moment, they're pretty uninterrupted. Honestly, if they want, I think they can just take down this generator. I think they can actually just tank the scout fire, because they're going to get damage resistance from being in melee. We see how little damage the scouts are doing, especially if only one of the scouts is shooting. Like, all 3 models need to shoot for this to even really do anything. They're actually going to leave. Oh, because they want to see if they can get a TAC model. That would be a nice prize. They do pick up 1 TAC model. But at the same time, now they might not be able to finish off the generator. I see what he was going for there, but because now he's not able to finish off the generator, I don't think that was the right choice, because I think killing the generator farm, or rather killing this last generator, would have been worth more than killing that TAC model. TAC model costs 75 requisition, generator costs 100. Generator also gives power to your opponents, so you're costing them requisition, denying them power income as well, until they rebuild it, and that also takes time. Shotgun Scouts taking massive amounts of damage from double Chaos Space Marines up close. Chaos Space Marines soon going to take massive amounts of damage from Kraken Bolts. Chaos Space Marines have cover, though, and the Tactical Marines don't, but the Space Marines also have an Apothecary looking to get into melee with them. Just trying to tie them up. Very aggressive play here out of both oLev and Cursecrab, just moving in with their commanders. Force Commander also going to have a Power Sword right here, and we've pretty much seen that this all game. And in fact, I don't think I've seen... Oh, no, there was a Power Fist. I don't think we've seen a Thunderhammer. So, you know, it might just be one of those things where I kind of have to adjust my thinking here, and maybe these days the Power Sword is actually quite a bit more common. Certainly in this series, I think the Power Sword was by far the most commonly used Force Commander weapon. Chaos Space Marines working on a node. They will be approached, though. These Chaos Space Marines, unfortunately, really going to have to get out of here. 1 Chaos Space Marine squad, pretty low on health here. Loses a model. Where is the response? This is LocalGhost. His attention is elsewhere, and he loses the squad entirely. That is not ideal. Do we have Bionics here? Oh, he's upgrading to Bionics, so he can't use it just yet. Ooh, if he had Bionics, he might have been able to stay here just a little bit longer. Ooh, the Devastator Marine's potentially in trouble. Do we have a teleport ready from the Sorcerer? Yes, we do. That should be the end of the Devastator Marines. Double cap for our Space Marine players. Tech Marine, meanwhile, right here. Almost level 2. Ooh, this is Katla. So we've seen this build from Katla before. Very wreck-heavy build. A lot of range damage, though. It's going to destroy these generators in seconds. Alright, the trick is, just needs to not get the Noise Marines suppressed. As long as the Noise Marines don't get suppressed, should be able to finish this farm. Chaos Space Marines also probably just straight up out of range of the Devastator Marine squad. And I'm also wondering to what extent this structure acts as a shot blocker. Like, it does obviously have little holes in it. Presumably you would be able to shoot through it, but I'm not 100% sure. Alright, Force Commander's approaching, so oLev going for even more tankiness. He's got the Artificer Armor, the Iron Halo, and the Power Sword. Artificer on Iron Halo is the maximum tankiness build from the Force Commander, unless you want to go for Terminator Armor later on. We have to wait quite a bit of time to go for that, whereas this you can get quite a bit earlier. That being said, Force Commander is running out of resources here. Running out of health, running out of energy. Apothecary, meanwhile, has given up the melee life, going for the customized Stormbolter. Will grant him full auto, which could actually be quite good against this Plague Champion. So, kind of interesting the way the Apothecary Starts out as melee, and then he upgrades out of it to ranged. Plague Champion, kind of the opposite. Starts out as ranged, upgrades out to melee. Sorcerer moving up, but oh my god, if he gets knocked down by a shotgun blast, he just takes so much damage. Luckily for him, he has a teleport to get out. Does look like Space Marine player is going to move up on this generator farm, though. Both Cursecrab as well as oLev are here. 2 Devastators are set up. They're not quite covering each other, though. So even if we did have well, we don't even have Raptors out of our players. Double Noise Marines out of local. Ununium suffering some loss, though, having quite a bit of a tough time of things. No Heretics for Ununium. And soon no farm here for the Chaos team. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, the build here out of our Chaos players, especially our bottom lane Chaos players, Katla and Ununium. What's happening to this? Oh my god, he can't get into melee like this. Like, it might not have been the ideal time to upgrade the Plague Champion to melee. I mean, it's just this big range block from the Space Marines that the Katla and Ununium just really can't approach. Big Blastmaster shot, though, on both of the Tactical Marines. I don't think they lost a model, though. So if we start getting some heals coming in from the Apothecary, they're already benefiting from the aura. I think actually a heal was just used on one of them. They're already benefiting from the aura, and so that's no bleed. As much as that was a great Blastmaster shot, Blastmaster now in some trouble themselves. Probably looking to wind up. Oh, can't wind up to get a shot because the lead model will be killed. Oh yeah, we've got the double Sniper Scouts from oLev again. This time only with 2 scouts.
Call now upon the unholy power of the Chaos Gods.
Some different upgrades from Cursecrab this time. This time we're going to see the improved medical equipment. So, going for the Sanguine Chainsword, you're looking for an aggressive Apothecary that's trying to tie things up. This Apothecary, though, with the improved medical equipment and the customized Stormbolter, he wants to stay with his army, and this suggests that it will be an Armor of the Apothecarian armor upgrade. To benefit from that energy and to just provide a lot of sustained heals to his squads. Alright, well, here's the attempt coming out of Ununium. Bloodletters, though, already forced off the field. That means he's going to be just relying a lot on the Noise Marines to get some big, fat shots that can break these lines. Unfortunately, he's just finding himself having to retreat more and more. It's actually Katla here who's retreating. And it's actually Katla who also has the Noise Marines that has the Blastmaster, not Ununium. This is, oh my god, this is actually looking real bad here. Triple cap for our Space Marine players. Ununium and Katla can barely get out of base. Unfortunately, it's just a bit of a reflection of the units they have at this time. I mean, Ununium finally got Bloodletters, but they didn't quite prove to be enough. Just having a lot of trouble breaking the Space Marine lines, taking a lot of damage on approach, getting suppressed on approach, and they don't have a great answer. Okay, so Dreadnought is going to kind of be the answer that does get the Chaos players out on the field again. At some point, though, are we going to see some missile launcher upgrades? We've got double plasma attacks again for Cursecrab. Just not about those Stern Guard veterans for whatever reason. Attacks from oLev going to be retreating off the field. One has a plasma gun, the other one does not. Meanwhile, up here, we are going to have local move in. I mean, with double Noise Marines, there really isn't a good reason for him to not finish off this farm. Like, double Noise Marines, they're going to rip this farm up pretty quickly. Okay, one of those Noise Marines is going to find itself in melee with the Force Commander. Okay, they're still not going to get the whole farm. So even just things like there when... Oh my god, this might even go down. He teleports it out with the Warp Global. Okay, yeah, one of these still up. I think that one should have gone down too. He had one of the Noise Marine squads not targeting anything for a while, or it was targeting like a nearby tack squad. I think at that point you just go all in on taking out the farm, focus on the farm immediately with the Noise Marines. So a lot of power disruption by LocalGhost up here, a lot of power disruption by the Space Marines over here on this side. Maybe it actually evens out a little bit. But what doesn't even out, though, at least not yet, are the victory points. Almost more than 200 victory points in favor of the Space Marine players. I say more than 200, saying as the difference between the Space Marine and Chaos victory points, that is. Alright, once again, we've got the vehicle-heavy play from our Space Marine players, really punishing our Chaos players for not buying Havocs. Bloodletter's teleporting in there, but my god, there's just far too much stuff there. I think these Bloodletters get wiped if they're just shot at. Yeah, Bloodletters are gone. Oh no. This Dreadnought should only need one more swing to finish off the Chaos Dreadnought. Gets it. Now it can also just rip apart the Heretics, get a few of them as well. Gets a few of them, indeed. Yeah, I gotta question a little bit some of the builds from our Chaos players here. The vehicles, I mean, the vehicles dominated last game. It currently feels like they're going unanswered at the moment. So usually the cheapest option for, you know, Chaos when you need to deal with vehicles in Tier 2 is if you already bought a Havoc in Tier 1, you upgrade them to a las cannon. I mean, but at this point it's like, what are we even seeing otherwise? Like, are we not even seeing any Noise Marines out? I keep on mixing up Noise Marines and Plague Marines. And as much as I talk down about the Plague Marines, you know, they are an answer, but usually you need something else on top of that. Alright, Zine Shred now opening fire on the Space Marine Dreadnought. Certainly going to do a lot of damage to the Space Marine Dreadnought if it can actually get off its full volley. It's still getting some nice hits. And also some misses. But it really needs support. Especially because if this Space Marine Dreadnought gets into melee with the Chaos Dreadnought is screwed. And that's why you need something like a Plague Marine or a las cannon Havoc to put a little bit more threat on the Space Marine Dreadnought. Oh, this is looking pretty rough. Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines nearly taken down there, retreating just barely in time. Where is the answer? We've got Chosen Plague Marines. Oh no. I'm worried about if that's like a mistake or something. Chosen Plague Marines get hard countered by a Dreadnought. So we've got 2 Chaos Dreadnoughts. That's the most we've got. The DPS of that autocannon is not especially high, though. Alright. The Devastator Marine Squad, though, oh my god. Devastator Marine Squad nearly getting wiped there. 38 hit points. But once the Dreadnought starts moving forward, I mean, it's like the Chaos players just need to move back. Chaos Dreadnought, I think, needs to target this Dreadnought. It's getting too close, though. Meanwhile, this Dreadnought might even try to take out the Plague Champion. Doesn't quite get it. All right, Dreadnought is now backing out. Where is this Force Commander going? He might be going down in retreat. 4 hit points, 3 is 0. And that's it for him. Okay, we are going to see some Space Marines moving off. And the Dreadnoughts are at least offering something to deal with these vehicles. But it still feels like the anti-vehicle response from our Chaos players is... it feels a little insufficient at this time. One of these Plague Champions going to be taking the victory point back. But our Chaos players, very soon they're going to be down in the double digits for victory points, so they are running out of time. They're going to need this double cap, and of course they're going to need to hold it. Bottom 2 victory points going to be a little bit easier to defend as they are closer together to each other. But for the moment, it is just going to be a Local and his opponent, oLev, just continuing to duke it out here. Unfortunately, the Noise Marines just walking forward into 2 plasma attack squads, taking huge amounts of damage, and they're off the field here. Finally, we just have something that even answers the Dreadnought at all. Not even something that necessarily answers it well, but answers it at all. Although the Dreadnought is also completely without repair support for some reason. Scouts are in a different zip code. But it looks like there's just still enough... Oh my god. If that actually results in the kill on these Chaos Space Marines, what a play. That was actually beautiful. And especially now with NoRealFilter having both a Venerable Dreadnought and a regular Dreadnought, and LocalGhost having the build that he has, I would say LocalGhost has pretty much permanently lost his lane for the rest of the game. So we'll see what Ununium and Katla can do. But, I mean, they're getting pushed back as well. It's a double cap against them, and I think at this point it's going to just become a triple cap along with a generator bash here. This game might actually be over in 1 or 2 minutes. Okay, Bloodletter's looking for a teleport in, but they might be a little overwhelmed here. They're going for the Devastator Marines. Devastator Marines are not set up, but just so much damage. It's not even that... So what's happening here is, like, the Bloodletters technically counter all of these units, but they're just straight up outnumbered. You know, there are like 4 attack squads here. So they can't all get tied up by the Bloodletters, and the Bloodletters are actually targeting the Devastators, so the 4 attack squads just shoot at the Bloodletters. Oh no, I don't think the Chosen Plague Marines are getting a whole lot done. Here's an orbital. What does it catch? It's going to catch the Chosen Plague Marines. Does it catch anything else? Oh, and that's a triple cap. That's going to be it. That's going to be the end of this series in favor of the Space Marine players. Coming back after game 1, getting a player switch, and then just really abusing the strengths of Space Marines, while also part of it was also our Chaos players and not adequately responding to all these vehicles. That will be it for this faction war. Hope you enjoyed it, and have a good night.